Bada bing, bada boom. We are here. It's the Roll for Mischief crew on another Tuesday afternoon. The name of the game is Volohin, Winds of War. The name of the episode 10, Minutes to Midnight. And yeah, things are looking pretty crazy here as the characters may or may not go and fulfill the weird mission that Emily just kind of shoved in their faces and said, "This is for the good of Twin Harbor, goddammit!" Bah! And yeah, so your characters have had
To which
plenty
we
of time to
responded, "Shut
talk.
up!"
So your characters have had plenty of time to talk about some strategy. You could talk about a little more strategy, or you could just kind of head out and try and do the thing.
I figure we'll head out. We have a solid first step of a plan. I feel like we can head out and figure out the rest of it on the way because Fiala would hate to, as much as she thinks this is a bad idea, she would also hate to miss the opportunity if it presented itself, like, somehow. Yeah, it will probably not work out the way that Emily thinks it will, but at the same time, if by pure Jedi magic it does, then then she would like to be available to to grasp the opportunity. So
Okay. So, just to be clear, how many explosives are you taking and
what?
who is carrying it?
I will carry it because I have the least amount of things on my person.
Um,
Hey,
I'm
Eric,
not
I
you
have
want
the
to
most
word
experience
again?
with explosives though.
Yeah,
Although
but
you're probably stronger than I am.
so this is not an explosive per se. This is an exploding rune attached to a pillow.
Okay.
For
It's
for
a
for fluffy effect, it
it is
explodes
a it's a canvas bag packed with black
something.
powder, and it has an
Right.
explosive rune on the outside. So
The
the
explosive rune,
explosive
exactly.
rune will explode, and that's got a lot of destructive force, and then the powder has
Yeah.
destructive force too. So
Um, I would like to. Where'd that fucking spell slot?
Cast Tensor's floating disk and carry it on that.
I would like to. While I would at the very minimum, while we are walking, if this is fine. If not, I will. I'll think what I want to do. But if you're okay with us doing it on the walk, I would like to ritually cast Identify and see if it requires. Because I'm assuming then that they tell me that it requires a special word,
mm-hmm.
and I would like
Yeah.
to identify. I know what it is. I would like to identify to see if it is required that word be said, or if it could be triggered by like the sack exploding.
Well, you don't need an identify spell to realize that this is real ass fucking black powder in the canvas bag.
I know. I mean the room, not the black powder.
Uh, I'm not sure if the identify spell really like goes into that
It's
level
not
of detail
intended.
with
This
the
is kind of
trigger.
a. This is that's. It's not intended to.
Mm-hmm.
Like, don't get me wrong. This is more of a like essentially like I'm basically like kind of.
Basically, if you threw the sack into a fire, would the explosive rune also go off?
Right.
Okay.
I'm gonna say
That could be a
no,
potential
really?
Arcana check because
Yeah.
I wouldn't. I mean, me Asa, I know the spell explosive runes or the spell whatever the
Glyph
actual
of
spell
warding
Glyph of
Okay.
warding.
is the actual
It
spell.
requires a trigger, whether
Yeah.
it's a touch, a visual connection. When you're casting the spell, the spellcaster, creates the trigger that activates the rune. And that is the only trigger that activates the room, as the spell, as I understand the raw of the spell is. Um, but in game, it depends on how much your character knows about different levels of magic. And both of you, being casters, bard and a wizard, probably would have come across the idea of the glyph of warding at some point and might know
I mean,
what's going on.
I can assist? Do you want to roll it or do you want me to?
I'll go for it. If you're assisting, give me advantage.
Yeah, because I
Hold
yeah.
on,
I already
hold
have
on.
a
Can I interject real quick? GM, is this something we can do? Because I mean, you're the GM here.
just roll an Arcana check. Just do it. Just roll.
Well, I mean,
Alright.
just roll an
it's kind of
Arcana
like
check.
having a discussion.
Yeah, just roll an Arcana check.
Okay.
That's a dirty 20.
Dirty 20. All right. So with the dirty 20, you remember reading in a book exactly the process and mechanics of this spell, and you know that once the triggering condition is set for the spell, that is the only thing that will make it happen. And there's you know, and the spell can be canceled by like defacing the rune, essentially. You know, like just kind of breaking the whole magical energy that's holding it apart. So that's why the most typical triggers for the spell is like someone, touching it, exactly, because
That's like trying to cut the wire when you're going. You're like, all right, I gotta separate this rune real quick. Which glyph do I cut? If I cut the wrong glyph, it's gonna trigger.
Yeah. Something like that. Exactly. So that's why it's like typically done in that way, because people know that if the rune is like defaced, then the spell's just totally not going to work. But that kind of trigger wouldn't work with what you guys are trying to do with these explosives, because you can't touch it and, you know, expect to survive after that. You know what I mean? Like,
Right.
yeah.
Fire spellcaster. I'm not worried about touching it.
Yeah.
I can pull a ship destruction and go fireball dimension door.
Word. Well, in that case, you only have one bag of just black powder then.
Right. No, I understand. But I was just, that's why I was asking, is because if the glyph has itself an explosion, that allows me to create a chain explosion of 3 explosions as opposed to 2. That's why I was asking. Because if I could trigger it by unexplosion, it would be fireball, black powder, rune, which would amplify the explosion overall. But if it has to be
could cast fireball on the black powder as we speak the word.
True.
And all those things still happen.
True.
Shall we say that this sort of discussion back and forth on how we can explode things?
It's on the way. No, I already stopped. I already stopped.
Okay. All right.
We are making strides to the place, so.
Right.
Cool.
Secretly talking about blowing shit up.
Yeah, while carrying explosives.
Very secretly, we're discussing in code about how best to sew together this pillow.
Okay. Hold on. So I'll do. If you want, I can roll a stealth, charisma-based stealth.
Oh, good old innuendo.
Oh, miss it.
Back when that spell was a thing, or that skill.
Yeah. Used to be a thing.
Mm-hmm.
Back in good old third.
Yeah, 15. It's not great, but it's. Yeah, it's okay. Probably enough where people wouldn't notice. Unless it's at advantage because of all of us. Unless you want them to roll the same charisma-based stealth as well.
Oh, I'm sorry. You guys are doing stealth.
I was saying
something?
probably. So the way that I established, and that's up to you if you want to use it. I like to use charisma-based stealth or whispering.
That makes sense.
I mean,
That's cool.
it could be that no one's nearby.
Also true. I figured if you would like me to, I rolled that, or I can use a reroll.
No, we'll just kind of skip the rolling on that and say, like, you guys are trying to be as discreet as possible and only talking about this when you really feel like no one's around.
Fine by me.
Cool.
I mean, I have charisma stealth as a +12 to me, so either way.
So as we approach the place, then,
You are getting closer.
Correct.
are we as a team? Are we planning on basically just like when we see the guards walking up to the guards, and I try my whole Jedi mind trick, or are we like
I
hiding
mean,
around the corner?
Our entire
I
table
do.
is fucked.
I do
Sorry?
believe it was the intention to go in and talk our way through. So yeah.
Yes, but we're not going to be able to do that. Our entire timetable is fucked because Emily stormed off like a petulant child, and so we will have to just watch and wait and basically play it by the seat of our pants because we don't know when she's going to launch an assault. And we don't know if that assault will create a big enough distraction for us to slip in. And we don't have the support of anyone to help create a distraction to slip in. If you would like to, we might be able to use your enchanting effects to just attempt it right now, but
I mean, if we get inside and set up the explosives, and then when we get a signal, we can just
Right.
go like. Pew. I'm
Well,
trying
in
to think
that
of a
case-
Harry Potter spell. Infernate? I don't know. Some fake Latin word for fire.
right.
Infernioso.
If you'd like. I'm going to just skip the character interaction with this, but this is the discussion we're having, essentially.
Hmm.
Just
In fact,
because, like,
permit me to just this minor thing. J.K. Rowling's shit at names. Like she is awful at like names for things. Like it really bothers me. Like really
you
bothers
know,
me how bad
that's
she
fair.
is.
It's really funny because Jennifer, for a long time, didn't get that Nocturne Alley or Diagon Alley were nocturnally or diagonally.
Oh wow.
Did you not get that either? Or
I mean,
you just don't have that knowledge?
I got that. But
Okay.
I mean, I also feel a little bad because that's also kind of what I do sometimes with my naming
Well,
things.
that's
Like,
I think that was cute and clever, and I liked that. But like, I remember pointing it to that to Jen, and she was like, "Oh my god, I never put that together."
but yeah, like sanguis or sanguinus or whatever for the vampire is a bit on the nose.
Oh
all
yeah,
of
and,
it is a bit on the nose. All of
Yeah.
it.
yeah. Lupin for the guy who's a werewolf.
Yeah. It's all super on the nose.
Sirius Black for the guy who can turn into a dog.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah, it's very much an
I know.
obvious. But to her credit, Harry Potter is first and foremost a children's story.
Sure.
So
You
to
take
that
that back.
end,
I'm a grown up. I enjoy it. It must
no.
be for me.
I enjoy it too. But to that end, you can't expect sophistication from from a book that from its beginning was designed to target 11-year-olds.
Yes.
So on that note, like if you had something super, super like I don't know, convoluted or really hard to put together, or that required a really, I mean, even Sirius is kind of clever because it does require some understanding of constellation names,
Hmm.
to get that. But it's not really, really clever. You do a little bit of research, you understand. Okay,
Hmm.
makes sense.
All right,
Oh,
so
Like
to
the
throw us,
things there.
yeah.
By,
So
by now, we are probably at the entrance to the tower and doing
no,
Heidi thing.
no, not quite yet. I was gonna let you guys roll a perception check.
Ooh.
Oh, okay. Are we being followed?
Oh, that was a shit roll. That was an 8 plus 3. That's an 11 on my end.
Don't worry, Josh has got us covered with his plus 4,000 to his roll, so fine.
Sick,
7.
nice,
It's a +5, but I also rolled a 2.
nice.
Dude.
Well, okay, then it's all up to me.
Yeah.
Mine's a 14. I like how I was giving Josh shit, but I have a +7 in my perception.
I know, right? You're a fucking monk. No, I'm good at like intimidation and stealth. I am not.
For some reason, I thought that your expertise were in stealth and perception.
No, it's stealth and intimidation.
All right.
So,
Yeah, I got a 14. What do I see?
so first,
Legolas, what do your elf eyes see?
first of all, Hilofax and Fiala, they don't really see or hear anything of importance, but they do smell the very captivating smell of fresh bread from a nearby bakery wafting on the air, and it has that slight hint of cinnamon to it that is quite distracting. And therefore Eridu is the only one who can look above the tops of the buildings. You guys are kind of right now. You're like going through one of the districts. You're not just on the street anymore. You're kind of like going through the district, which are like smaller streets. And above the tops of the buildings in front of you, you can see the little like stone battlements that can only be the very tippy top of Rook's Tower. It is, on the very top, it's got the telltale little kind of thing like you would see on the top of a rook piece in chess.
I was gonna
It's
say
got
it
those
looks
little
like the top of a
battlements.
rook.
It pretty much just, it just looks that way. So you see the very tippy top of the battlements, and also Eridu hears something curious in the distance. It's this faint and low roar of voices on the wind. It almost sounds as if there is a enormous tournament or some kind of sport being played, but that doesn't seem to fit quite right. Doesn't seem to be quite the right thing.
How far away is it? Is it
You,
just off
you,
in the distance?
you can't tell. It's just off in the distance, but like it's like the kind of effect of like you're like blocks and blocks away from like a football game, and you hear everyone going.
You hear like the
"Rah!"
roar.
You
Of
hear
the,
the
of the
roar.
crowd.
Yeah, you hear the
Yeah.
roar of the crowd, but it's like you're so far away that you just hear kind of like that.
Is it in
know?
the distance? Is it in the direction? Oh, I guess. Well, okay. So,
I'll
is
allow
it in
you
the
to roll
direction? Okay. Is it in the direction of the way that we're traveling? That's all I really wanted to know.
in the way that you're traveling.
Like, if we as we get closer to Rook's Tower, does the sound get louder?
Um, not
As though this
not
is something
necessarily.
we're moving into.
I'll just have you roll a straight up, actually do a history check, but base it on your wisdom instead of your intelligence.
Okay, I can manage that.
I think that's going to be
I'm
even
actually-
better for you, my dog.
Yeah, it is. It's gonna be 2 points higher. 26. I'm
Oh,
trained
wisdom
in
based history for remembering things.
Okay. So, Eridu, with the 26, you're able to piece it all together in your head. And you realize where you are in the city. You take the direction of where you're hearing the sound from. And then you also kind of like imagine the distance. And you put it all together and realize that's coming from the square where Akram was killed.
Okay. Um. Yeah, so I'm going to quietly mention to everyone else. I believe our distraction has started. We should make our way a little bit faster.
I guess like I would call it like 3/4 speed, where it's like a dash, but it's like don't use all of your movement for dash, so it's like 30 plus 15, so 45.
We're amping it up into a light jog.
Yeah,
Okay. All right.
not a full on dead sprint.
Okay, so tell me again what the plan is. Are you guys just gonna go try and knock on the front door? Like,
I
are you
honestly
actually
I
gonna do
don't
when you get
know
there?
because Emily fucked up all plans that we were trying
sure,
to.
yeah, sure. You can keep saying that Emily's the one that fucked up here. That's fine.
We were discussing battle plans. She came in, threw a hissy fit, and left. And so we
So,
have.
who do we see at the front door?
I think that's going to be our deciding factor as we get closer to the place. What obstacles are in our way?
Okay, fine. So you guys walk down the street just a little bit longer, and you see the battlements getting closer and closer and closer, and there's this big, large, squarish building That's the one that's right in front of the tower. And in between the tower and all of the other buildings around it, there's, maybe a good, like, 15 feet or something. It's not like a huge amount of distance, but it's enough clearing so that the tower has got its own kind of little space around it. And you hop up on the corner of this big square building, and you kind of do like this little Three Stooges, like one head, like bloop, bloop, bloop. Maybe all three of you peek around the corner in comedic fashion.
Give a look out.
And then you see in front of the tower two very heavily armored individuals that have, they're wearing plate armor. They have very fine looking long swords. They each have a enormous shield strapped on their backs currently. It's not quite a tower shield, but it's pretty big. Pretty big. So they've got, just very heavily armored, and you can see their eyes through their visors. They are alert and just scanning, constantly scanning the surrounding.
Okay. I am.
Could I? Because like the description makes it seem like perhaps there's something going on with these armored guys. Would Halifax perhaps have a better conception of what they are? Like maybe could I do like a nature check or an arcana check to see if like are these people in suits of armor? Is this like animated suits?
While you're doing that, I'm going to be on the lookout for some sort of alternative entrance, like way over or around whatever obstacle we have now.
Okay. I'll have Halifax do a excuse me. Halifax do a straight up history check. Have Eridu do a perception check.
Okay, my perception check is a 12.
27.
Damn, Halifax.
Yeah.
Damn. Okay, so I'll start with Eridu, actually, with a 12 perception check. Eridu, you do not see any additional doors on the first floor other than the one that's being flanked by the two crazy-looking guys in plate armor. You also see that there are no windows on the first floor. However,
Of course, why would a bunch of divination mages need wizard windows?
However, there are windows on the second floor and above.
Oh, I can work with that.
There are windows on the second floor and on the third floor. Yeah. Halifax, with your history check and also with checking your plethora of notes that you have gathered, with how good that history check is, you are able to dig up a little more information that you've uncovered about these mysterious Templars. Again, they are an organization that was kind of put together, a special forces unit maybe that was put together by Orran Vitrell. They started off as just being his kind of like personal escort guards, a real show of force as he was going around and making his public rallies happen and everything. But then there started to be more of them, and they started to crop up in more places around the city. And in particular, that they have some specialized training, and in particular, they seem to be trained specifically to neutralize enemy spellcasters.
So they are quite literally Templar from Dragon Age.
Hey, I'm not stealing stuff from Dragon Age. What are you talking
No,
about,
you're
Asa?
borrowing it. You're going to give it back to them when you're all done.
Exactly. Once I borrow it and trash it, I'll give it right back to them.
Here you
No,
are.
no,
Here's your Templar.
yeah. Hey, here's your Templar back. No, but honestly, I'm not ashamed to say that I take a lot of stuff from Dragon Age
Oh,
because I
geez.
think it was just one of the best like world building kind of executions. You know what I
I mean,
mean?
Yeah.
I
The world
genuinely
building was
thought
so
that
good.
was like a historical reference because the Templars going and fighting against heathens.
Mm-hmm.
Uh,
Well, I
Well, I
imagine
think
it was
that's
a
where a lot of the
that's where it came from for the Dragon Age folks. I bet. You know.
right.
cool. Okay,
Definitely.
so right, those are people to avoid. They are people, right?
Oh, they are people. They
Okay.
look to be about human stature.
Okay. So if they're people and they're designed specifically to combat spellcasters, I know. I'll just go and cast a spell on them. That'll
I
work.
think that
It's gonna be great.
Yes,
I think
counterspell.
that I think given the right opportunities, we might be able to make our way around the building and get up through one of these second floor windows. I don't know about you, but I don't fancy to take on 2 men in full armor. I don't think we're prepared for that.
Oh, I'm not too worried about that. Um,
I am.
I guess I'm a little more concerned about announcing that we are here before we're ready to.
that's what I'm
Speed.
more concerned about.
Yeah.
I can ensure that they it is more difficult for them uh, to attack us because they are cooking inside. They're cooking inside their armor.
That would be distracting for sure.
But I agree. I don't know if I'm ready or if I want to announce our presence before we're ready.
Mhm.
Hmm.
So
Well, I think perhaps these windows higher up are worth investigating. Is there a way perhaps that we could get around the suits of armor without confronting them directly?
I think on top of the roofs of the because there's like what 50 feet or whatever you said in between the like what's the gap again?
It
between
was
the-
15.
Oh, 15? That's like
15.
nothing. That's like nothing.
You try jumping 15 feet, Theala.
No, it's 15 feet horizontal.
Yeah, I
But in
mean
terms of,
that's
like-
that's the gap that's kind of in between the rest of
Right.
the buildings, but it's like 15 feet all around it. It's like I said, it's not like an enormous clearing where it's totally by itself. It's packed in here, but it does have that little bit of space
Right.
all around it.
But in terms of perceiving or investigating, it's not like a 60-foot gap or whatever.
Was it said that this is the square where Okram was killed?
No, not
No,
this
that's
one.
where the sound the big distraction sound. That's where that was coming from. That's why Eridu jumped to the conclusion that our distraction has begun, because he's assuming, and I want to say Emily said this as well, that Emily's going to create that distraction in the square where Akram was killed.
Yeah,
That's
I,
really remember
I
her
said
saying
I
that.
said that like 3 times.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was gonna say I remember there being a
Yeah.
thing. I'm gonna do this in the place where Akram was killed. So
Yeah.
it
Oh
rung
wow,
in-
I didn't know that for sure. I will reiterate Tiala's feelings about Emily right now.
So
Um,
about this being a personal. Yeah,
like this being a murder or a suicide by cop. During the break, we
She's
were
on the mark.
talking
She's
about
not
Tiala's
gonna
views of Emily right now is that she is. This isn't the way that she views Emily right now. What she's doing is suicide by cop, not an actual attempt to attempt at like achieving victory for the resistance.
right.
And knowing if Eridu says that to her, that even though she hasn't said that out loud yet, that is cemented her view of Emily.
Oh yeah. Eridu hasn't outright said like it's coming from that square. He's just said like
Right.
we
Okay.
our distraction has begun. We should.
Okay. Yeah. So in that case, it's not been cemented, but she has already had that view. So if Eridu says it, or if she finds out for whatever reason, That's going to
It'll
be
just cement that view for sure.
yeah. It's going to cement it. So um,
So climbing.
climbing on top. I think climbing on top of the roof uh, will give us a better vantage. It's going to require a little bit of subterfuge and stealth, but it is probably our best bet to be able to see inside.
It is also a factual that people typically do not look up. Using the failure of the average mortal's line of sight is something that will be very useful for us.
Something very difficult for me, especially because it's in the middle of the day.
Yes, you should invest in some sunglasses, something like that.
I've heard of Knave's Eye, which is that is a new new item that is being developed by my people that kind of counteracts that. But it is not.
I was just trying to break some fourth walls. Don't read too far into it.
Oh no, I was one breaking the fourth wall and two kind of creating the idea of it in the game. The Knave's Eye is Jarlaxle's one of his magic items that does that.
Yeah.
And here I thought it was a topical cream. But,
Right for the eyes.
So yeah, so she could in theory get the Knave's Eye, and at some point, well, that's a new technology, so she has no access to it for a while.
Climb a thing. So we need to get around the guys in armor.
Yes. Yeah, climbing buildings with them nearby is probably going to be a bit obvious.
I mean, the distractions started, but the guys in armor are still here. So
I think if we look like townsfolk, steal some clothes off of some people nearby.
Should we put a bucket
don't
on
we
their heads
already
and
look
Nazis do it?
a little bit?
I don't know. Theala is always looks like an imposing figure, like with like she doesn't own clothes. She only owns now. She's wearing she was wearing black before. Her vestments are now like white.
Eridu will flip up the hood of his cloak of elven kind and just seem to be a bit more part of the surrounding. Like, unless you were actively looking, it would just kind of be like, oh, that wall is slightly shifted over there.
Yeah, she does not have that.
Mm-hmm.
She is noticeable, although she does have high stealth. So
why don't we backtrack a little bit, find a safe place, climb up the roofs, and find a way to one of these windows?
Yeah, sounds reasonable.
So if we're going to have to back up, sounds like it would be. Maybe we should just pick someone to be a scout for. I suppose I've already looked around this.
I feel like Iridu is the best choice.
Yeah, like someone to find a place for us to go, and then we'd all need to sneak there without being spotted, and then climb up.
Okay.
So Kyle,
I vote Eridu.
It sounds as though I'm going to do a little bit of scouting and find a safe place for us to get to, so that we can sneak onto the buildings and sneak our way to a window.
Okay, so be clear to me. Like, you're trying to find, like, where is this place that you're trying to find that's a good place? Are you trying to find a good place next to the tower that you can climb up, or are you trying to find a good place to hide, like, somewhere else, or what do you?
On top of the building with a reasonable line of sight into the building.
I believe what we're doing is we're gonna sneak somewhere further away from the guards, like kind of go through back alleys or whatever. Then we're gonna Eridu is probably going to climb a building and do a little bit of building hopping, finding a building that's kind of close enough to one of the windows and seems to be out of the eyesight of any guards, as well as probably keeping an eye out for patrolling guards around the perimeter. and then try to find a discrete location where they could all get from one of the rooftops to the one of the windows. Is that clear enough, or did I just talk
It's
myself in a circle?
well, no, it's pretty clear.
Uh,
So how stealthy are you trying to be? Ultimately stealthy on this venture?
Well, I mean, I'm gonna be stealthing my way through for sure.
Okay, so give me just like
And
one stealth check that'll kind of like represent this whole kind of dealio.
all right, mine is a um, come on, Issa, 21,
Okay.
and then also anybody trying to perceive me is going to have disadvantage because of my cloak of element.
Oh, interesting. And then the other thing I'll have you roll is let's make it actually like let's make it
Investigation.
yeah, let's make an investigation.
All right, not my strong suit. I
Well,
got a 7.
make it with wisdom instead.
Um,
well, it's just Yeah, it's just perception. Unless you're,
so
yeah.
it would be 8.
Oh,
Only 1
nice.
point higher.
Nice. Okay. So, you all right. Here's what happens. You are you backtrack and you start going through some different alleys and you go up, you find some ladders that lead up to the roofs. This is in a part of Twin Harbor that's not like this is like the common people's neighborhood. You know what I mean? This is like middle class Twin Harbor
It was
kind of
chosen for a
neighborhood.
reason.
Yeah, and you find some ladders that lead up to some rooftops, and you find some good rooftops with a view of Rook's Tower, but some of them are just like a little too far away to where you can't see the windows, and some of them are just at a really bad angle.
Mm.
Because the windows, there's only 4 windows on Rook's Tower, and there's some that are like, there's ones that are going this way and there's ones that are going this way, but then they're on different levels. So it's like really hard for you to just find a certain angle. And then you're just about to give up, but then you climb these stairs that lead to these little like apartment buildings or something. And one door is just left wide open, and you also smell this delicious smell of spiced meat that's being cooked. And you peek your head through the doorway, and you see a rough looking, a rough looking human male. Looks like he's some sort of dock worker or something. He's covered in all sorts of dirty dirt, and his clothes are just like kind of falling apart. But he's just happily whistling and whistling away, and you're looking at him kind of like in his kitchen, more or less. And right in this area in his kitchen, there is a big window, and it's perfectly framing. It's got Rook's Tower, not like, I don't know, like 50 to 60 feet away from it. And it's like you could just see the window in Rook's Tower on the second floor just perfectly from his kitchen apartment. And he's
Okay.
in his kitchen and he's just whistling away. Got my
Looks
mutton
like
chop.
the most
Got my
ideal situation, but this is going to create a choice for Eridu where he has to do something that maybe he normally wouldn't.
I got my mutton chop, mutton chop. He's singing a song while he's eating
Um,
his mutton chop.
so Eridu is going to
Intimidate.
no, no, he's not. That's not within his strengths. Eridu is going to wrap his cloth around his hands a little bit tighter and move quietly behind this guy. And
Let me roll for him really quick since you're getting
mhm,
close.
with disadvantage.
Yeah, definitely. He is very focused on his mutton chop.
Okay. And then I'm going to just real quick, once I get right behind him, put him in a headlock kind of sleeper hold and choke him out.
God damn. Okay. So, go ahead and roll a grapple check. And
I have advantage on this, please.
you absolutely do. You know.
Strength is not my
And
strong
all.
suit, so come on, something good.
Oh my god.
Okay, that'll be better than nothing. It's just an acrobatics, right? Or an athletics.
Are you? Yeah, I think it's just
It's athletics
athletics.
versus their athletics or acrobatics.
Yeah.
Okay, that is unfortunate because I have a negative in my athletics, so that's a 9.
You caught him with his pants down, dude, and by that you caught him with his mutton chop, dude. So he
All right.
he rolled like garbage too, man. And you got him. You got him in this sleeper hold.
All right, so there's probably a little bit of a struggle. He's probably a little bigger than me and
Oh yeah,
kind
yeah.
of struggling around.
Oh, he is. He's a big
slamming
dock
some,
worker
some
kind of guy.
stuff around.
Mhm.
But within a few seconds, he passes out from lack of oxygen, and then I'm going to take my wraps off of my hands, and I'm
Mhm.
going to put one of them in his mouth, and then use the other to tie his legs and feet together. And then because in reality, you don't stay knocked out from lack of oxygen for long,
No,
Uh-huh.
it's
like
seconds.
10, 15 seconds. So this is something I do real quick, and I'm just going to kind of stow him away, lock him up, shove him into one of his food cabinets, and close the door, and then like stick something in the way there so that it's blocked up,
Wow.
and then
Okay.
quickly make my way back to Alton and or no, yeah, Halifax and Theala, and let them know what I've found, and we need to hurry.
Cold-blooded
If
gangster.
you like in the movies that like they knock somebody out and they're like passed out for 8 hours and then they wake up later. IRL, if you're unconscious for more than 30
Longer
seconds,
than
it's
like
considered
30
a
seconds,
stroke.
yeah.
And you have
Yeah.
a major concussion. So
Yeah. That is lack of oxygen to the brain for a long period of time.
yeah. So don't
Just
hit
just so just so all of you know, in reality,
Mhm. yeah. I
this
never
is not a video game where you get to like sneak up behind somebody and crack them in the back of the head, and then they pass out for the rest of the level. This
Yeah.
is real life D&D here.
Yeah. Don't do. I just want to say, yeah, for everyone, don't do that, and also don't do a 3-point landing. You'll destroy your knees. Superhero landings are actually terrible on the knees. You will fuck your world up.
Word.
That's why you never see old superheroes.
Mhm.
That's why you never see old superheroes.
Yep. Except for Batman, who should have no knees, but maybe it's just because he has the money to buy like.
He just keeps
Replacement.
getting joint replacements.
Yeah.
I believe it.
Oh my god, that makes 100% sense. Why he's like 51 and can still be a superhero.
Yeah,
He's
that
like
makes sense.
the Bionic Man.
Yeah. Oh my god, I never
All
realized
right.
that.
So
Before.
what? So I'll let your characters talk for a second. I'll be right back. But your characters talk about what the hell Erdu just did.
Cool.
So yeah, Erdu, I've found a perfect place. We need to hurry though.
Okay. Okay.
So
We
leading
obviously
you along.
follow, and ugh.
Yeah, I'm leading you, up, back through this way we came, through some alleys and back up into these apartments, into this little room. You smell and can kind of see the mutton burning, on the stove. It seems like an apartment somebody has lived in, and yet there's nobody in here right now. And I point out the window to you and go, right through here. We have a perfect shot to the Rick's Tower window. You may or may not catch the slight sound of something jostling in one of the cupboards,
Well,
food cabinets.
I rolled a 16. Oh no, I guess it's inside. So I will say this: I rolled this. I rolled a 16 because I did double tens somehow. So I rolled a 16 for the perception to the windows out there. That's cocked. I rolled a 14 to see if I hear anybody in here.
If I had to rule this as my own GM, I'd say you probably would hear the slight movement, but what you would notice that stands out as being odd is that in this like food cabinet pantry or whatever it's called, where the cabinet closes, there's a broom stuck between the handles, and that's not a place people would normally keep brooms.
True enough. I will. I'll let Kyle make that call, but
What now?
so I did 2 perception rolls. One was a 16 to see if I can see into it through the windows in the tower, and one was a 14. The other was a 14 to see it because Erides or Asa said that we like there's probably here like muffled like movement in the other room, and so I rolled a 14 to perceive that. Although I guess my passive, it would have been a passive perception, which is 15. But either way.
Wait, so you guys are in the apartment right now?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
There is definitely muffled movement, and there's definitely like a.
Do you want me to use the passive perception, passive perception, or the 14, the passive perception of 15?
I'm just telling.
The perception of 14.
I'm just telling you what you're hearing. Okay. There's in the closet. There's a rattly kind of thing coming from the closet, and there's a sound, and then when you're looking,
but not care.
Sure. Okay, and then the window thing that you were looking at, you can see into the window. You can't see very much detail. You can see that there's this kind of weird, like bluish glowy thing that's coming through the window, and every now and again the bluish glow like snuffs out for a second, then comes back.
Okay.
Is it in the window? You said
through the window.
You
can see through the window that in there there is this bluishy glow.
Is it moving?
Yeah, as though it's something inside the building, though, right?
That's what I'm trying to get across.
Okay. I just want to make sure it wasn't like the window was glowing and then stopping, like there was some bear.
Word.
Okay.
Is it moving left or right?
It's not really moving itself. Oh wait, yeah. There's something that is okay. There's things that are like blacking it out from both directions. You know what I mean? And it's like random. Like so, this thing will come and black it out, and then every now and again there'll be another
up
one.
And downstairs, and there's some kind of light source that they're passing. That's
as
a character.
Yeah, it's a totally reasonable thing to put together with the observation.
Yeah. Okay. So I'm gonna go. Our best case scenario is Halifax. You and I teleport into that room or into the hallway right there when the distraction starts, so you can be there to help me with any counter spell and dispel magics that we need, and so that way we can you can use your charm to give us a little bit of extra like padding, assuming of course or once the distraction starts. Eridu, it wouldn't be a bad idea for you to find a way of, because I'm sure that we'll trigger alarms in there, so will be a second distraction for you to be able to slip through.
Yes, and I can get in much easier than you can.
Yes. Agreed.
So you're going in first, and I'm going in second. Is that the plan, or do you want me to, so that you can trigger any alarms and then?
Yeah. Oh, we'll wait until we see. We'll wait until we see the biggest amount of movement. If it doesn't happen soon, then we'll just go. Whenever we'll just feel like if they're not moving at any point, we'll just have to go. And then what I'll do is I will wait until after, if I feel like it's things blocking a light, as opposed to the light. If it's kind of like random, I will then wait until it's solidly blue and then bamp in there. And obviously, when I don't, I will very specifically wait until I very clearly don't see a person like in the window, and I will bamp in what I have a line of sight on. So I'm not like wasting that spell. So I will, even if it's like we end up like 10 feet above the staircase. I'm gonna bamp where I can see.
That all sounds good to me.
I will get ready to blast some spells.
Yeah.
Do it. Take us there, Theala.
Okay. We'll wait. We'll wait a little bit, a few seconds, and we'll let Eigner or Eridu set up, and then we'll wait a little bit. And if we don't see them make a movement, we will just start our own.
My setup
I'm sorry.
My setup is all it's going to be, Kyle, is making sure that I have enough full movement to go out the window, to move 45 feet from where I'm starting to up the tower and into that window.
Oh, because you have vertical movement.
Yeah, because I can just run up walls and stuff.
Okay, so you're just gonna bust through the window, fucking fists blazing?
We all are, apparently. We're all
They're
going
going to teleport.
Halifax and I are going via magic, and Eridu is going via
Okay.
Just run it.
run.
Alright, okay, so...
Are these open windows, by the way? Like...
As far as he explained it, yeah.
I didn't say that they were open windows.
Okay,
Oh,
so
yeah.
there's
Did not
glass
say
between-
there... Yeah, there is glass.
Okay.
Well, in that case, I may just face step in there.
Well, in that case, I can also bamp inside once I see light, and then where I would feel like there's no one there, and then just open up the window. And as soon as I open up the window, Eridu
Oh,
busts.
that's an idea.
No point in wasting your phase step.
However you guys want to do
Yeah.
it, man.
Yeah.
Okay, I'll go through with Theala and sort of help view things. I'm gonna have Tobias on my shoulder.
So, if I'm understanding it right, you two are dimension dooring, so you both can use that and get in?
Yeah, we're gonna use that to get in, and that'll give us the opportunity to have Halifax ready to act immediately, and that'll give me the opportunity to open up the door so that way, or the window, so that way you can jet in. And
Then I'll give you a moment or two to like figure out if there's any distractions and handle that before I just come in. That way we're not all caught with our pants down.
Okay, that's fine. And we'll wait maybe 30 seconds to see if there's any movement from those inside the tower to operate and move outside. Otherwise, if I don't see anything within 30 seconds, because we don't have the opportunity to really establish anything. We just have to, I guess we just have to do things with or without proper setup. And they don't need to be budging at all inside. So, yeah.
So let's do it. So is the plan still dimension door in?
Dimension door in. It's just I'm giving it once Eridu sets up about where he needs to be, I'm gonna wait 30 seconds, and if I don't see any movement or what I feel like is enough movement, then you and I will dimension door in. You'll be prepared with whatever spells you need to be prepared with, and then I'll open the window.
Okay.
Okay, so Eridu, how much distance can you cover if you're just moving, just using all your actions to move?
My base walking speed is 45 feet.
Well, I knew that.
Yeah.
But,
So that's, I mean, and you've already said that it's 15 feet from building
Right.
to wall.
And so
How
he has the
tall-
ability to go up 3 stories.
I had thought you... Okay, alright. It actually doesn't matter because you've got the movement to be able to do it. Yeah, you guys are a
Yeah.
little farther away, but since you move so fast, it's really not a big deal.
Right.
Alright, so you guys, Dimension Door, bam! You're inside the tower. And I'll let you guys make a quick perception check.
We're inside. I don't have to be at disadvantage.
That's
Um,
16.
16 beats my 13.
Okay, so essentially, what both of you see is that you see five what can only be magic users, mages.
Right.
They are wearing the very typical kind of robed getup that you would see.
Right.
What you also see are, the big, very stereotypical Twin Harbor fancy logo or whatever. They look like they're paid by the government. Perhaps they're like official dudes. And then what Halifax sees, because as you're getting close enough now, you're inside the fucking building right next to the window. You're
Yeah.
close enough now to see what all that silvery blue glow was,
Yeah.
and they are 8 scrying pools that are set up throughout this room in neat little rows. And the scrying pool that is closest to you, Halifax, that has a mage, very surprised looking mage behind it. You look down, you look down at what he was scrying, and you see Emily. You see Emily with some members of the Tranquility crew, and they are in the midst of a huge crowd of people that look like the very salt of the earth, the common folk of Twin Harbor, all gathered around Emily and the Tranquility crew, and they're raising their fists in anger and righteousness and facing off against Emily and the Tranquility crew is a huge contingent of Twin Harbor guards. There's just a huge standoff that is brewing in the square where Akram died.
So,
So that's pretty much what you get as far as the visual information. And then one of the mages, as soon as he sees you, just shouts, "Intruders!"
um, okay, sure. Fireball.
I'm assuming initiative occurs.
Well,
Uh,
it is definitely initiative.
Yeah, okay. So that's a 9. The
Oh.
dimension door, is it like a two-way thing?
No, it's um,
It's kind of a badly named spell because everyone thinks that it's like an actual door gets opened. It's not really like that. It's
No,
like
no, it's
you
a-
cast the spell and then you travel that distance. And if you want to travel that distance back, you got to cast the spell again.
right. It basically the way that I look at it is it's like it the way that I look at it is it's not like teleportation circle where it like creates a hole that you can go back and forth through. It's
No,
a
it's a one-way.
it creates like a doorway that you step through and then closes directly behind you.
Okay. Kind of like the portals Thanos creates whenever he's...
Right, yeah, kind of like the portal. Yeah, exactly. Or not Thanos. I would, yeah, exactly. So that's the way that I look at it. But technically, it's probably closer to Nightcrawler. That's why you have to like. That's why you have somebody has to touch you to whatever. I just like to
Yeah.
because it's named Dimension Door. I like to imagine it as like a 3 second. It pops open, you walk through, and then it closes. Um, but yeah. Oh shit. Wait.
So I got a 9 on my initiative. by the way.
Okay.
20.
I'm rolling initiative as well because at a certain point I'll come into this combat, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, definitely.
Okay.
All right. Well, fittingly enough, I didn't roll high, so that's good. 7.
Okay. Cool.
Okay. Do.
Okay.
Figure
I'm doing
low
it.
initiative.
Doing
Low
it.
initiative makes a lot of sense when I'm like probably the last to really know there's a thing happening.
Okay. So, it is the mage's turn first, and the mage, one of them who was pointing at you and shouting, "Intruders!" He snaps his fingers and
Does
says,
he have the spell?
Sure.
Counterspell.
Okay.
Okay.
Okay. It's counterspelled. So at that point, he just starts running down the stairs.
Okay.
And 3 of the mages run down the stairs. And 2 of the mages will cast spells on you. One of them is going to go ahead and cast Scorching Ray.
Okay.
And I got let's see, 2 of these are going to target Fiala. One of them is going to target Halifax. So Fiala, I got 26 and a 20.
Yeah.
And then the last one
I
is a
would
15.
like to, on the one that's for me,
Uh-huh.
are they within 30 feet of me?
Oh, yeah.
I would like to use my reaction to divert the attack.
Okay.
They need to make a wisdom saving throw against DC 17.
All right, let me finish
Okay.
this thing really
Okay.
quick over here with Fiala. So
Okay, yeah.
Fiala takes 16 fire damage.
Okay.
And, all right, so I have to make a wisdom saving throw.
Yes.
Mm-hmm. What's your DC?
17.
I beat it. I'm sorry. I did.
Dude.
Yeah, rolled high.
Yeah, on a successful save,
Rolled
I
high.
can't use this feature again until I finish a long rest.
Sick, dude. Sick, dude. All right, now let me see if I hit you. Hold
Yeah,
on.
do it.
Ah, gosh, I cannot fucking get this dice to fucking roll right. All right, that's 19 on AC.
Yeah, I've got a 13.
Okay, so that's going to be 7 fire damage. And then the other one is just going to go ahead and do a good old magic missile. It's going to bump it up a little bit here. These are all going to go hit Fiala. Rolling like shit. Alright, that's 13 force damage.
Okay.
Alright, so 3 of the mages have run downstairs. 2 of the mages are staying up there with their hands like, ooh,
Define
ready to
run
rock.
downstairs.
They run downstairs.
Like, because I mean, they
Quickly,
have at best
right?
6 inches of movement.
Like rabbits.
Okay.
They hike up the little robes and run.
Okay.
Tee-hee-hee-hee-hee-hee-hee.
I fireball the ones that are left. I'm pretty sure that it is not bigger than a 40-foot room.
Okay, so you're ready to like fireball yourselves too?
Whoa, 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 whoa! What happened to the window opening?
That'll be a. Actually, that's a free action anyway.
Yeah, you can open the window and then Eridu will see a bunch of flame fucking shoot out of the window.
I can position it so that way, it like is within, like it doesn't hit us. Like you don't have like you can. How big is the room?
Sure, it's 20-foot diameter room.
Then I can hit it at the back wall and let it basically like miss us.
Okay.
Because it's at a point, it doesn't have to be in the center.
No, I get it, man, but I just like really don't. I just think it's such a stupid move to try and like blow up the building while you guys are in it.
I was going to attempt to intimidate them to get them to shut the fuck up. You, without giving me a chance to react, had them, 3 of them run away and have them call out. Like,
Josh, dude,
I have to react in a way.
Josh, dude,
because they've.
Josh, listen, man. I'm the dungeon master dog. You're just a player. I'm sorry to pull rank on you like this, but I'm in control.
Right, I understand. I didn't complain about it, but I have to react in a way. You didn't give me a peaceful out, so I have to do what I have to do. Because as it stands, you have, 5 or 6 that are up there with me, and I can't have 6 magic users plus a bunch of soldiers plus 3 other magic users come up on me while I'm still dealing with them. I've got to do what I've got to do. I'm not telling you can't do that. I'm saying that you create the situation that you put in front of me means that I have to do what I have to do. You understand?
Yeah, no, I understand, but like you're gonna be pissed when I have the building fall on top of you.
That's fine. I'm not going to be pissed. I have to. I have one that succeeds on our situation, and two, this is the realistically, this is the situation that has been put in front of me. I don't have a choice in the matter.
Okay.
Like the other option is like shoot one and then have a whole bunch of.
May I interject? May I interject really fast, just for the sake of,
Yeah.
This is the situation that's put in front of Theala, not
Right.
the situation that's put in front of Josh. And the reason why I'm making this distinction is to separate people from event.
Right.
This is the game. Theala's making a call. It may not be the smartest call, but at the end of the day, as the GM, Kyle, you don't have any say in it because it's not your decision to make. And as the player, Josh, your character's making the decision that she thinks is fitting for the moment, and even though it might be foolish and it might go terribly wrong for that character, these are the moments that reactions happen without thought, without total consideration for the next moment. It's just shit. We have a problem to deal with right here, right now. Let's deal with it.
Right.
So let's deal with this problem. Let's roll that fireball up. It's going to go wrong for us because it's a fireball on a building. I get that.
And she's
Josh gets
established the
that.
willingness to do that.
But Theala is making a rash decision, which is within her character because it's not the first time she's fireballed in a moment where it could go terribly wrong for everyone involved.
Yeah.
Yep.
Let's just see how this goes.
All right.
Yep.
Roll your fireball damage.
Do I need to roll a dexterity save?
Yeah, dexterity
Ah.
saves. Oof.
Yeah.
Ooh.
I mean, I'm not gonna lie, man. This is a small room. I'd make it happen.
Oh no. The way that I look at it is because if it's 20 feet, I can aim it in the corner and barely miss us. Like it's not. You don't have to hit it on the ground. You can hit it anywhere. So I can put it in a corner, and like we're like,
Do we know exactly how big the room is?
huh?
It's a 20-foot
He said 20
diameter
foot
room.
diameter. It's a 20-foot radius spell. So if I put it in the corner, just using the far, it's like your nose hairs are burnt. Don't get me wrong.
So I got a 14 on my dexterity saving.
Well, that
throw.
wouldn't save against. But I'm going to let the DM choose whether or not that we have to do saving throws for this.
Well, I mean, if it's a 20-foot diameter room,
It's if I put it in the corner of the room,
and it's a 20-foot radius.
and it's a 20-foot radius. So if I put it in the
Spell.
corner, as in the ceiling to the wall corner, that like math, that like our nose hairs are maybe perhaps a little singed, but it should keep us out of the actual damage area. But
When we're talking about numbers
G-
that small, the hypotenuse will only be like an extra couple of feet.
Right, but that
Uh,
that puts us out. Like I said, it puts us at the noses are we are right at the end.
Okay,
We're
so
running
hey, roll the fireball damage.
Okay. If you want me, okay.
We're good. Hit GM says roll damage, man. Roll it up.
Yeah, and I already
Let's
did
see.
roll damage.
Alright.
39.
Okay, so each of you guys take 10 of that fire damage, and then the fireball blows out the entire section of that wall, and the building starts to crumble on top of you.
Okay.
And you all take 63 bludgeoning damage and are restrained in the rubble of the tower.
Okay.
Um,
Then I'm dead, pretty much.
I haven't acted yet, so I am going to
That's
just
because this
assume-
happened on Theala's turn.
I'm just going to go on the assumption that this doesn't happen. None of this happens to me. So
No, you're safely very far
Yeah.
away.
45 feet away. Are we gonna end right there?
All right, thanks for joining us on Roll for Mischief. It's been another lovely Tuesday afternoon. Please join us next week for another thrilling chapter of Volohin, The Winds of War. Thanks for
See
watching.
you everyone,
Bye.
guys, again.